Hey everyone, it's Allie, and unfortunately, I gotta break some pretty bad news to everyone. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I do have some good news afterwards. Unfortunately, the frog build we were all super excited to play just isn't viable in the slightest. It's just awful. Yesterday, we were all super excited as I just went and rushed and farmed for the helmet and immediately tried to do everything I can to go get it so we can show off the frogs and see how they are and start playing the build and just having fun with it. We were all really looking forward to it, and as soon as I got the helmet, put it on, and went to my first zone with changed skills and passive points, we were all just disappointed. Right off from the get-go of when I was swapping over to builds in the target dummy area, we could have already seen that there was going to be problems with them. The main issue with these frogs is that they are just using the old Minion AI. In Season 3, giant chunk of what was coming was the fact that all Minion AI was going to be reworked so it doesn't slide around anymore, so they don't do weird things, so they don't attack half the time. Basically, everything that was wrong with the old Minion AI is currently applying to frogs. We tried both assassinate mode and protect mode, and in both cases, it is just pre-season 2 Minion AI. It is straight up unusable. At the same time, something is wrong with their skills where it just feels like they're not doing damage. On paper, they have an insane amount of scalers, and I don't see why they wouldn't do good damage. My gear was actually pretty good at this point, where I had strength or dexterity on everything. I had 80 total strength, which is quite a lot, and I had minion damage on every single roll I could. My weapons also both had added melee damage on both suffixes, and everything on paper should have aligned to at least us being able to clear maps pretty well. And even when I went down to non-empowered monoliths to experience what more gear would look like, given empowered monoliths just have double the health, even then trying to clear a pack of monsters was just kind of slow and miserable. I'm thinking that these frogs might just be bugged. I don't know. I went and got the new amulet Evolution's End, which is something we want to include in our build. And this is an amulet that summons a beast as your companion that has abilities based on the rift beast that you killed when this dropped. My specific rift beast straight up was not doing any damage at all with all of its abilities, while some other people that had different Evolution's Ends were saying that their rift beasts were doing damage. The point I'm trying to say here is that I wouldn't be surprised if something is just super bugged about frogs or all of this, given Flay is currently bugged and it's causing client crashes for people, and given the fact that the frogs have a different Minion AI. I don't know what's wrong here, and I am personally extremely disappointed. I know all of us were super excited for this, and personally, I was super on board with it too. I don't like playing Minion builds. They're not my favorite thing ever, but my God, I was all on board with the frog train. So with that said, I guess the conclusion basically comes down to they're just not really playable. Currently, Summon Bear is just significantly stronger and it requires basically zero investment. What's the point of playing these frogs that, one, require you to completely warp your build around it, two, basically require you to play Beastmaster, three, require some pretty extreme gear to even be able to clear just 100 corruption, when you could just go play Summon Bear from level 25 or so and just have it one-shot everything. I swapped over to Summon Bear with my frog gear after we were all disappointed after about an hour testing, and without me even having level 20 skills, it was already surpassing what the frogs were doing, and as I kept playing the builds and just got better gear, the frogs would have never been able to keep up. And given that the bear is going to then stack a lot of CDR in the late game, so you have 1 second earthquakes, the frogs would never have anywhere close to clear them. It is just sad how that skill is wildly better than a skill that literally requires you to have a primal item. With that said, if you are still interested in playing a minion build, I would recommend for you to go look into Summon Bear. It is very strong, very good, uses basically the same gear, and there's plenty of guides on it. At the same time, there's also some other decent primalist builds if you'd like to play some other stuff, such as Tornado or Werebear, which are both fairly strong skills. You'd also look into something like Storm Totem on a Shaman if you like to, or you can possibly look into something like getting the T-Rex relic and then going with squirrels or with raptors, which is another build that people are looking to play with. What I'm personally going to be doing instead is I am going to be going down a different line of thinking. We're going to go away from the whole minion stuff, and we are instead going to shift the build over to a classic Allie build. In Season 3, they released a new chestplate called Thicket of Blinding Light. This literally is just the chestplate that enables Thorns Build to work, and I went into offline, quickly got all the gear, and went and tested the build to see if it has any teeth. Well, I think it's fair to say with absolutely garbage gear that this build is definitely looking to be extremely playable. I think that this might actually be one of the better clear builds in the game, and I think it has some pretty disgusting potential. It definitely won't be an uber Abroth killer, I can tell you that much, but I think this is going to be at the top of the food chain when it comes to speed clear builds because the potential of this is pretty silly. What I want to quickly do here is just show you a showcase of this. This is my current gear. I have a Hazel Roots with cast speed on it, default uniques in every other slot, a helmet with just normal T5 attunement on it, and a little bit of cast speed on my gloves and my relic, which we're not going to use in this at all, as I'm not going to actually be casting anything. I'm just going to be walking forward. With some default gear, no relics, no blessings, and not even all my skills put in, we can do this to something like 150 corruption. We're going to just load in, and all I'm going to do is walk forward. This is a completely scuffed version of what this can potentially become. And I feel like I'm pretty sold on this performance at 150 corruption, and I feel like this is definitely worth considering, pushing further, and seeing how it goes. Realistically, to be able to play this build, the only thing you're going to have to do is grab yourself a thicket of blinding light from the vendor. This requires you to have 30 petals and 1 crystallized heart. So if you are interested in swapping over this build with me, be sure to be on the lookout for any evolutions that give you primordial feathers. And to get your crystallized heart a little bit faster, go over to your weaver tree and pick up the node that gives you an increased chance for primal beasts to spawn with crystallized heart, along with the chance for them to ambush you. That's how I personally got my crystallized heart, and I feel like that's likely going to be the thing that takes you the longest to get. And to just simply mention again, this will still be on a primalist, so you can simply just use your current character, just stick with the poison scorpion setup that we swapped the build over to, farm out the chest plates, and then swap over to build as soon as you have it. The rest of the gear is unbelievably simple to farm, so I'm pretty excited to put it together. Again, I'm really sorry about how all this turned out, kiddies. I feel really bad for just playing a build that ended up just having the worst possible mechanics on mankind and just, well, sucking. But I hope that you at least are kind of interested in the Thorn builds. And if you want to play other Minion builds, I hope you enjoy Summon Bear. I don't like doing this kind of stuff, and I hate it when we have to break bad news on day 2 of a season, and I hope all of you can understand. With that said, I hope you guys enjoy this video and this update on the builds, and I will see you all in the next video where we start talking about the Thorn build, which I'm really excited for.